Sitting waiting for you. Tearing down these walls is all I do. I try my best to be good to you, but you're never around when the wind. I'm starting now. Yeah, I'm on live now. Waiting a few minutes. We'll wait a second or so. All right, you guys, we're going to wait to. I'll get started in a second about the 1 minute mark. This will not be a long live stream. Hey, Mela. Hey, Boo. Hey. I hope this doesn't disappoint y'all. It's going to be pretty short and sweet. It's a continuation from, and I normally don't do these. I don't like to do these, but I honestly feel like I owe the brother BMT an apology. And I just also want to clarify some things that I said, because what I did something I shouldn't have been doing. I was kind of back and forth listening, from downstairs, my kitchen, back and forth, back and forth. And I think I didn't like that. When I went back and listened to myself, I didn't like the answer that I gave. So I want to clarify some things, and hopefully the brother will stop by and he can expound. But I understand what he was saying. I absolutely understand what he was saying. And now that I've gone through and listened, I understand a lot better. And that's what I get for jumping in, hence the title. Anyway, you guys, okay, so I'm going to get it started. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Cloud Watchers. So this is what it is. This is basically an apology to my brother BMT. This is a continuation from the Faith Factor. She had a show. You guys need to check her out. It's in the description box, okay? And it was the topic of the show was women. And gosh, now I don't remember the title of it, but we were basically discussing titles that we call women, for different things, for their behaviors, and sometimes, just maybe the way they dress or whatever. And we were having a discussion about that, and voicing our opinion. Was a wonderful, wonderful show. So what I want to address over here now is my part. And I'm always saying don't do this, but I jumped in kind of half winging it because I was back and forth during the live stream. And so I did not completely understand what my brother BMT was saying. But when I went back after the live stream was over, I did. And I realized I saw something in myself. And those of you who've been watching me, you kind of know this. You probably already picked up on this as far as my personality type. This is the deal. So the brother, and I want you guys to check out the original video, like I said, when you get time. The only thing that BMT said was he was talking about how he dated a woman, and basically there was a point in time where the women were not the women, the woman's child, they were walking around inappropriately, and I came in at the tail end, which is my bad, not fully understanding the situation. And I want to clarify my statements. And like I said, I've already apologized, and I'm apologizing in front of everybody, because one thing I do not like to do is say something. One thing I will not do is say anything that I don't mean on here, and say something that is offensive to anybody, or I will not do that. My reputation means way too much to me for me to do that. And so I jumped out with comparing. This is what I was trying to do. I was trying to compare. So the situation was basically where the man came to the woman and said to the woman, could you do something? I'm feeling uncomfortable with your daughter's walking around, inappropriately, which is absolutely in his right to do. Absolutely in his right to do. And it's a very manly action to do so. Actually, it shows that he actually cares about that woman, and that he actually cares about those children. It was brought up by Mela and several other people that if he didn't care, he wouldn't have said anything. Right? So, but in me trying to explain myself. I felt like I didn't do a good job explaining my position. I explained already on that panel about basically, that's a situation that's concerning because especially if it was a new relationship, but it wasn't a new relationship. But in my mind, because I didn't pay attention and I jumped in, right? I was thinking, okay, a new relationship. I don't know how I would feel if somebody, I don't know if I'm doing a good job clarifying this. I'm gonna need you guys to come up here and help me. But basically, what I was trying to say is, I don't know how I would feel if, in that situation, I'm just now dating a guy and he said that to me. But that wasn't the situation. He was in a serious relationship with this person, and he was just voicing his concern about the way the children were dressed. And when you're in a serious relationship, that changed the whole dynamic of things. Okay, because you're potentially thinking about being in a family with this person. So things are very different. And then we were talking about older children too, teenagers. So and he made that clarification. Y'all, this is something that I always say don't do, and then I went ahead and did, which is just jump in at the tail end, not fully understanding the situation. But I wanted to make sure before I go on with my points that I definitely apologize to that brother, because I did not mean to be offensive. And then in the beginning, I want to make this very clear to people. I was not comparing that situation to, because I mentioned Kevin Samuels. I was not comparing. I want to make this very clear. I was not comparing that situation to Kevin Samuels. What I was comparing was, there was a episode on Kevin Samuels where it was a situation to where a mother is given basically in a position to where, okay, there's child versus the significant other. And so I was making that comparison. Okay, there's child versus the significant other. But once again, I didn't understand the whole story. And now that I've gone back and listened to it, now I understand. And so I'm a big enough person to apologize. And definitely there's no comparison there at all. But I was trying to just say, I want to talk about, this is what it is in a nutshell. Lord, I'm beating around the bush here. I'm going to definitely need y'all to come up on this panel and help me out. What I was trying to say by doing that comparison was just comparing women in situations, right? So when you do look at that Kevin Samuels videotape, you have a woman that feels, whether it's true or not, she feels like she's in the position of a single woman at that. We got to keep in mind what's going on here. She's in the position automatically on the defensive, right? And in that situation, of course, because the scenario that Kevin painted, yes, she should have been. But in this situation, no. It was just a bad analogy. And my analogy just was simply a woman in a situation where it's a child versus her significant other. And I was trying to say that most women, whether it's right or not, they almost always, even if it's for the child's own good, it's just the protective mechanism that we have. That's what I was trying to say. And then I also stated that if it's a situation like that and you're courting somebody and you're thinking about making a family with her, you shouldn't have to really come in and do that much correcting. The parent should already have the child to where, she's dressed appropriately. Like I said, to really get the full meaning of everything that happened, you have to go to the Faith Factor show and watch the show. It was a very good show. You guys forgive me. I'm working and talking, and I don't think I'm doing a very good job of explaining this. Mela was there. Blue Devil. Hey, Third. A lot of y'all were there, so maybe y'all can understand who were there. Hey, peace, everybody. Welcome. I'm hoping that the brother BMT will come up and help me explain this. Let me see who's down there. So basically, Faith isn't here. Hey, Faith. Yeah, y'all help me out because I'm not doing a good job. I don't know if I'm sleep deprived or what's going on. Hey, Zero. But yeah, I'm just here to basically apologize to that brother, because all he said was that he was dating a woman and he was basically letting her know, with the way your kids are walking around here, I feel uncomfortable. And the fact is that that's the right thing to do. Either do that or just leave it alone. But if you care about the person, you're going to speak your mind. You're going to say what it is, and you're going to try and work that out. And that's what he was trying to do. Like I said, I think I used a bad comparison. I will say that because there's no comparison there. Um, Also, I want to talk about, and then I'm going to drop the link for y'all to help me clarify things to the people. Like I said, this will not be a long live. I just wanted to make sure that I clarify some things, because when I went back and listened to it, I'm like, damn, now that didn't sound quite right, and it's not what I intended. Y'all know me, child, and I think y'all know me well enough to know that that's not what I intended to do. So something I want to talk about, something that I was trying to bring up, or in my mind, what I was trying to bring up is just the fact that sometimes women, and I know I was single by myself for a very long time. Sometimes we have been single so long and used to doing things so long by ourselves as a single mom, that when a man tells us something, it's really hard for us to listen. It's hard for us to listen. And I will include myself in that. I'm a very, very stubborn person by nature. Although I can say that I'm workable. You got to kind of work with me, you know. I'm a tough clay, but I'm moldable. And this is the thing, when you're getting to know each other and you're in a relationship, both sides, it's some give and take from both sides. It does not make you weak. This is a part of the process of trying to get to know one another. So there's no weakness in listening. And you know what I did today, I guess kind of, I wasn't fully listening. So shame on me. And I can generally say that I know me, my personality type. Even now, like I've been told, it's hard to talk to me at times because I'm so defensive. And a lot of single moms, we can be defensive over our children. And that's because we've had to do so much for so long by ourselves, and we've had to be their defender, their protector, by ourselves for such a long time, that we don't know, once we get into relationship with a man, we don't know how to relinquish that power. Amen. We just don't know how to relinquish it. And I'm not saying that you should relinquish it for any and everybody. That's not what I'm saying. But for the man that you're trying to actually build something with, the man that you're trying to have a relationship with, yes, absolutely. You know, baby steps. Baby steps. We not talking about, you know, nothing too major. Okay? Just baby steps. And part of the baby steps is just be willing to listen. Listen. The man says he's concerned about the way the child is dressing or whatever. Listen to the man. Because Reigning Woman was over there. She brought up a great point. Men can see things, y'all, that we as women don't necessarily pay attention to, and vice versa. Same with us. We could see things about us that they can't see because they're blinded. You know, they're blinded by the hips and thighs and whatnot. Okay. So I think I'm going to drop this link. I need y'all to help me out. Mela, Faith, all y'all in the panel that were over there, help me out. So I invited BMT over here. I'm not sure if he's going to hit the link. I really wanted him to, hey, Amiri, to expound although he doesn't have to, because he was quite clear. I was the one who didn't understand the question. I didn't understand it fully, and that was my bad. Okay, so here's the link. Hold on. I hope everybody's having a happy Memorial Day, y'all. Yes, honey. Hey, Rod B. Let me see. I don't want y'all to think I'm skipping. Did y'all see that? Hold on. Oh, Lord. Hey, Angel. Long time no see. I saw you live the other day. Hey, Pow Pow. Is Woman Fair in the building? Hey, Woman's Fair. She says, Sugar, I'm right. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, because I went back and I was like, wow, I don't like the way that sounds. You know, the way I said it just didn't sound right. I know what I meant, and that's what happens sometimes, you guys. on panels and stuff, you got to give people grace because God knows I've had a slip of the tongue before, just like I did today. So I just wanted to clarify some things. I want somebody who was there. Oh, the faith factor. Hold on, hold on. Hey, Faith.
Hey, Mahogany, what's going on?
I need you, girl. I need you. You were there, obviously. It was your show, but I need you to help me clear this up because I don't think I'm making much sense.
No, you made perfectly good sense. You were doing great. The name of my stream is called A Better Class of Women. And basically the stream was calling for women to kind of call out other women, and hold each other accountable instead of making excuses for our bad behavior. And so, in the process of having that conversation, one of the panelists that was up there on my panel, BMT, was up there, and he described a scenario where he was dating a woman, and he was, getting serious about her. She had some children. One little girl was 13, and one little girl was 15. And so he said that when he would go over there, the young woman that he was dating, he said he was young at the time, and he was trying to find a way to articulate to the lady that he was dating that the girls who were like in their who were teenagers, they were not dressed appropriately when he went over there. That they would be dressed, kind of skimpily. And so he told his girlfriend that he didn't want to be put in that situation, with her daughters running around the house, half dressed. And so the women in my chat room got offended, because of the phrase of him saying being put in that situation. And so they wanted him to expound and explain what he meant when he said he didn't want to be put in that situation. And
Right.
so, yeah, and it kind of got misconstrued. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to come up here and just kind of explain to the ladies that not every man knows how to breach the subject of, the inappropriate dress of your children with you. It's a very touchy subject for any man to try to broach, with a woman. But basically,
Yeah.
if a man didn't care, he wouldn't say anything. He would just come over and enjoy, all the sights. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And think of ways that he can, get his predatory behind in. But the fact that a man will come to you and have that conversation with you means that he respects you, and he, wants an environment where, the girls and the children are protected. And so that is not what BMT meant, when he came on my panel and said that situation. He didn't mean that he was looking at those girls, but he wanted the children to be, appropriately dressed when he came over. That's
Yeah.
what he was trying to explain. That at least that's what I got out of it.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
gonna say this. Well, go ahead, Mahogany. I'll wait.
oh, welcome, welcome. You're fine. Go ahead.
When it comes to BMT and little girls, I'm really sick and tired of him opening his fucking mouth, to be honest. I've heard him tell several stories of sexual assault and how he was somehow there every single time. This is not the first one. This is not the last one. And so, what I'm starting to think, because he's a habitual liar, what I'm starting to think is he keeps making up these stories, but I'm not understanding why all of the stories are surrounded around little girls. I'm starting to get that to me. I pinned him a long time ago, and I called him out on Irene Yvette's channel, and she emailed me. And if he lies, I will show the email of her saying, I know he lies, but you didn't have to come at him like that. Protecting the abuser, once again, because BMT has several times made these elaborate stories of little girls. One day he told a story of three little girls in a park, and he got the phone call that they were being abused, and he ran to the park, and he got there just enough time, y'all, to where their pants were being pulled down. and
Um,
he prevented it. I don't like that, y'all. I don't like that.
well, I'm gonna be honest. This conversation we just had just a few minutes ago was completely different conversation. And I was just trying to clarify some things. I want to give him a chance. Well, to address that first of all, and then I'm gonna go
Well,
from there.
well, BMT is here and he can better explain on his own behalf, what he meant in that conversation. I didn't take it that way
No, I
at
didn't either. He
all.
was talking just about a past relationship. It was really nothing. I wish you guys would go back and watch it because in its context, then you would see it wasn't nothing. He was talking about his own personal relationship. Um, so I'm gonna let him talk, and then I'll probably go.
Okay, I'm gonna go on mute. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Mahogany? What's going on, Faith? Um, you know what I'm saying? I expect Angela to say some stupid shit.
I
Um,
can show the email that
I
Irene
don't give
said
a
about you. I can
and
show you
we
the
got
email that
go ahead.
Irene says you lie all the time. That's what
Okay.
Irene said.
And go ahead, go get it.
You
Go
want me?
get it.
Okay, let me go get
Yeah.
it. All right, y'all. I'll be
Okay.
back.
So definitely um like I said, I spoke on a past relationship. I spoke on a past relationship that I had with a woman that had children. Um and the main thing about it was and the main thing about it was I felt uncomfortable because I know the environment of where we are in Charleston. Me and Mahogany understand, the layout. I was not going to I didn't feel comfortable because we've been dating for a while, and when I started coming by, I saw stuff I didn't like. Now for me as a man, if and I'm speaking only for that as me as a man, if I see something that makes me feel uncomfortable, most men I know, if they don't care, they're not gonna say anything. They ain't gonna care about your children. They're not gonna care about your well being or anything like that. I don't know why we can't have these holistic conversations that if a man does care, he's going to say something. If a man sees something wrong, then he's going to say something. I didn't go anywhere else but talk to the mother. We had a
Right.
conversation about it.
I
We
want
had
to
a
say
conversation.
something. I'm gonna give you the floor. I promise. I'm gonna say something right now. Right now. This is not like I said. This carried over from the Faith Factor show, which
Yeah.
is the description box that just happened a few minutes ago. I'm apologizing because I came on in at the end and
Hmm.
didn't understand the full thing. And I was completely wrong. I used a bad example. So this is really what this is. This is not a panel to where I'm not. This is not that kind of panel. These everybody that's up here was at the show and knows what happened. So
Hmm.
that's pretty much
So
it. I'm gonna let BMD say his part, and then I'm probably going to end the live. Anything from any other situation, I'm not going to bring up on this show because then it's taking away from my purpose, and my purpose was to apologize for me not
Right,
listening. Yeah, so I'm
right.
not going to do that
right.
on this
So
show. Go
I
ahead.
like like the thing about it was can y'all hear me now? There we go.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
go
had a
ahead.
phone call. So the main thing about it was I took my accountability and my responsibility because I did like that woman. I did that I was dating. I did like her. So me saying that, hey, this is an uncomfortable situation for me, and that I'm seeing something as a man that, hey, your daughters are dressed inappropriately. You know what I'm saying? I think you should say something about that. And she's saying, well, why are you looking? Well, if you trying to put me in that family setting of we might be a possible family, you understand me, Mahogany? Then
Right,
I'm going to see things differently. You know, that hey, your daughters might need to put on some clothes before I get here. And I would text her, hey, I'm on my way. I'm 10 minutes down the street. I'm right around the corner. So if I say something, I care. I'm not I don't do when she's about ready to go to work, I get my ass up and I go. I don't hang around there. I don't.
right.
So that's the most I can do. I'm not gonna put myself in a situation like that. Now, I'm speaking about that of accountability for me as a man and talking to that woman that was my mate at the time. Does that make any sense for any women on the panel? So if I'm talking with my mate at the time about what I see that makes me feel uncomfortable, and she does not want to acknowledge that situation or say that, well, why are you looking at my daughters? Okay, then. You know what? You know what? Cool. Let me just drop off. Let's just drop off the Pizza Hut pizzas. I'm going back to my crib. And that's how I left it from there. Now, we still tried to make it work. There were still other issues. It didn't work out. But I know for me as a man, I said something and about how I felt about the situation. I don't know any other way how I can be more respectful of your home than to tell you, hey, your daughters are dressed inappropriate around grown men. I think that's your job as the parent, not my job as your boyfriend to address that. That is your job as the parent.
And you
And so that
absolutely right about that. That would be her job as this girl's parents. It would look funny to you being just a boyfriend to talk to the children, and it would also be inappropriate. So you're
right.
absolutely right about that.
So I never stepped in that lane. That is not my job. Whenever we did have that issue or that conversation, you know the line that was thrown at me, Mahogany? Well, you not the daddy.
Right.
You're right. You're true. You're right. I'm not the daddy. You're right. These ain't my damn kids.
And
I'm
my
only I'm only telling you how I feel as your boyfriend. So if you saying I'm not the daddy, cool. Hey, you got it. I'm fall back. But you
All
can't
right.
talk to me about you want a family and we want to build a family, but then you don't want me to have that kind of say of saying, hey, I feel uncomfortable about that.
right. And I think you have the
Yep.
right. Go ahead, Mela, and then I'm gonna go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the positions of a man that determines himself to be a protector of the household is to give the leadership where morality is is exercised. That's the word I'm going to use. A man in a leadership position expects the respect that it takes for him to assign a morality clause in the household. And in the event that a man is taking a woman seriously and he finds that he has encountered a house full of daughters that are not aware of what a morality clause is all about. It's not about judging or restraint. Look, okay, we're talking about restraint here, right? There's the mother that says, you're not going to restrain my daughters from what they can or cannot wear. And then you have the man that is in a position where he wants to embark upon a protective position in their lives. You can't cancel one from the other. Either you're going to allow him to, by virtue of his nature, to know what predators do. See, that's the thing. Women can't think like men. Men know how to identify the characteristics of predatory behavior better than we do, believe it or not. And with that in mind, if he's encountering a situation where the mother is protesting his leadership as oppression, that's a problem. And I'll tell you why. It's a problem because she herself is not aware of a man's nature compared to what that man knows. That man knows what a predator is. And it is up to him to lay down. And I know that sounds kind of, dictatorship-ish, but it is his position in the interest of protection to decree a morality clause. Like, look, you have to be aware of what it takes to make sure that people aren't assuming that you are sexually available, because men know what men are looking for, okay? And because he's enlightened and aware and self-disciplined, he hasn't forgotten what some of these perverts out here are looking for. And it is his position, in the interest of protection, that he would expect his household to not be full of troublemakers of defiance, to where, well, you can't tell me what to do and how to dress and where to go and where to act. And I know that sounds kind of, like I'm mocking something, but what I'm saying is that is an attitude of women who are not interested in a man's leadership. They're just interested in his presence. And there's a difference. When he determined, and I'm talking to you specifically, BMT, when he was able to discern that she's not interested in my leadership, she's interested in my presence. Otherwise, why is it that she can't interpret that I'm here to protect this household? And so if he found her to be unmovable, in order to consider his leadership intention, he had to go. Why would he waste his time with someone that's not interested in his leadership? And I'll also say this, BMT, it's not a foreign concept that women misinterpret and become paranoid when a guy can't articulate specifically why he makes those blanket statements. You made what's called a blanket statement, and it could be misconstrued if people didn't know you any better. If people didn't know you any better, they'd be like, well, what did he mean by that? That type of thing. But since we know you better, it's like, okay, wait a minute. What I don't want to happen is for him to be misinterpreted. And that's why it was important for me to participate. Okay.
Well, see, here's the thing about it, Mel. Like, me and old gal, we've been talking for a minute. She had her own whip, car. They had a nice townhouse and all that good shit. You know what I'm saying? I actually really rock with her. We were talking for a good minute. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it was, we started having to talk about, possible, maybe a baby, maybe, looking at a house, in Somerville and all that good shit. But the thing about it was, like I said, hey, you know what I'm saying? The same way I don't mind investing, you know what I'm saying, in you and your turn, you know what I'm saying? I see things that I don't approve of and I don't like. You can't say I'm your man, but then when I actually start telling you things that I see, you fighting me. So if I'm telling you that, hey, that, I was riding down the street at Ashley Phosphate. I know y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but I see your daughter at McDonald's hanging around some bad company, and she hang around some people, and I'm telling you, and you fighting me. That's a problem. That's not my job. Well, why didn't you do anything? You are the parent. I'm telling you, I can't make that decision. And so I'm allowing you as the mom to correct it. I don't mind digging in my pocket and helping you. I don't mind supporting you. I don't mind going to the school functions and trying to play stepdaddy and all that good shit. But if I say or see something that's very, very destructive, that, hey, we around some people that don't have no moral compass. Your girls might want to put on some clothes. That's not me digging or literally trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying as a man.
I get what you're saying, BMT. I get
but it's being taken as, BMT and predatory. No, there's some fucked up people down on these streets that me and Mahogany know about. So me saying as a man, as a young brother, mind you, I took some digs as a young brother. Yo, why you talking to her? She got 4 kids, bro. Like, fuck that, bro. I said, no, man. Like, I really rock with her. I like her. So I understood what I was getting into, but I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm telling you your daughters are dressing inappropriate when I come around. And then your brother, he even said the same shit. Like, yo, your man is telling you about your girls. You don't hear him or me when we talking. So I'm like, yo, I'm bounced. And mind you, we try to make it work twice. So
But
You know,
well,
everybody want me to do midnight
BMT,
quarter.
can I say
Go ahead, go
something
ahead. You
real
got it.
quick?
I didn't mean to get hot. Go ahead.
Because see, I get what you're saying, and it's the same thing. It's about respect, and that's what I said over on my panel. You know, it's the same way in women. We get away with doing stuff simply because we're women, and we got to stop doing that. We got to stop, being like, oh, I'm a woman, I get to do whatever I want to do because I'm a woman. That's not true. Like, I have been in places where, I visited, and the person has sons, and they're running around in early in the morning with the morning wood out, and they running out the bedroom, and you can see the penis, up hard, erect, or whatever. And it's like, oh my God, put some clothes on. Why you running up out of here and I'm here, in your shorts? You know what I'm saying? So like it could go both ways. But in my case, because I'm a woman, I could feel sexually harassed because the boy is running out, showing his morning wood. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a situation that, the parent would have to hammer out with their own child as far as being respectful of people when they're over to the house. If you're not telling your daughters how to dress respectfully when company is over, then you're not a respectable woman. And I would tell any man that if you see a woman that's like this, that she's not respectable when she goes out, or she doesn't teach her daughters to be respectable when company is over to the house, that is not the type of woman that you want to be with. And that guy that, that I was around, he didn't teach his sons to respect me. So guess what? If I don't feel respected, I'm not going to put myself back in a situation where I feel disrespected because you refuse to teach your children right from wrong. And it's a right from wrong situation. It's not even about looking at children. It's about being respectful, period. And that's what we have lost the art of as a group, as a people. We have lost the art of having standards, of being respectable to one another.
All
It's
right.
simple. But I don't know why we as women, if a man comes to us and tell us we need to be more respectable as women, we get offended. I'm
Right.
sorry, but
No, no,
that's
no.
all I wanted to say.
That was. I mean, no, you're right. I gave an example too, similar to that of, um, you know, if I'm dating someone and they have kids and they're disrespecting me, even just cursing me, I have a choice. If I don't care, I'll just walk away from the relationship. If I care, I'll say something. Hey, your kids are being disrespectful to me. So that's really all it was in a nutshell, you guys. But do
Hold
me
on,
a favor.
and let me say this. I didn't talk. Listen, before I even started going to her house, we were going to hotels, and she was coming to my place. We were going to a hotel in my place.
You don't
She
have
was no, no, no. I want to state that I really wanted to actually build with this one. Y'all know how hard it is out here for some women with children to get to build with a man, especially you got 4 children deep in. Like, nigga, stop. I literally was trying to actually be respectful, and I was putting money down for the baby that I knew that wasn't my baby, and also school clothes and shit. That was my money. I actually had love for that woman, but I'm
right.
not. But see, when a man actually cares, and that's the thing about it, when a man actually cares and actually starts speaking, it's this you can't tell me nothing attitude. And I'm like, so when does a man be allowed to protect? And it's not always got to be on the physical. Sometimes it can be something of just speaking the voice, saying, "Hey, I have a concern."
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I get it, it's your home." And I'm not telling her how to run home. If I was telling her how to run her home, then I would have been talking to the kids directly. I went to the parent, the owner of the home, respectfully, and actually, it wasn't even her home. We were driving. I was picking her up from work and taking her home, and I told her that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys? Because this is what I don't want. I think we. Hey, Master Viper, I think we got the point across. You guys really, really, in order to understand everything, you're going to have to check out that video, and it's in the description box, or just go straight to the Fake Factor show. It's not a promo, but I think you will understand further what's going on. Although I'm always promoting.
Mahogany,
Uh huh.
mahogany. can we talk about the tendency of people jumping in, as you've discovered for yourself?
Yes.
Um, no, I'm
Yeah.
serious, because there are people that do jump in and they give opinions based on half heard scenarios. Like, it's like, okay, I was in the kitchen and I come back and I hear an inflammatory or a motivating statement, because that happens a lot. There are people that they just bounce on the panel and they just go berserk over something that was taken out of context. And I was wondering if you could explain what's the thought process behind how people can stop from doing that. Like, I think someone had called it not knowing how to read the room. And I'm not saying that that's a I'm not saying that in a derogatory manner. However, I have noticed that there are people that are so eager to jump on a comment or a statement that without giving consideration to the conversation as a whole. And I was wondering how we could prevent that from happening, if you could say so.
Well, God knows I've done it. I've put my foot in my mouth more. You're right. Give it time. Maybe go back through before you come on the panel and get the full understanding, or just hold up and wait a minute, because that's exactly what happened to me today. I really should have delved in a little bit before I actually answered the question, but it happens. But that's a good way to prevent it, is to make sure you go back and listen, or just, so
Well, I
y'all,
think
we got to have.
Mela, I think what Mela said is on point, because a lot of times people will hear something at the tail end, not know what's going on, or they have a vendetta against somebody that they see on a panel, and because they see them, it just seeing them triggers them, and they don't even know what the conversation is about. And so they hop on the panel and immediately go on the attack and derail the conversation from the actual topic and turn it into a beat. And we need to start being mindful and respectful of other people's platforms. Because what happens is, when you're constantly running on other people's platforms with that, you're disrespecting the host, and you're disrespecting the topic, because now it's not about the topic anymore. You've made it about your personal vendetta against a particular person. And one way that we can prevent that from happening is just don't do stuff like that. We've got to start having a little bit more respect for each other and decorum.
Yes, what do you say? The vendetta? Yeah, the
Yeah, the
vendetta.
personal vendettas. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a factor in, and I mean a pun intentionally. That is a factor in how people would join a live stream, and also misinterpretation, as well as not being clued in as to how things are being conducted in the scope of a conversation. So yeah, I agree with you. Actually, I do.
I want to say this. BMT's already dropped down. I was just about to tell him something. But I want to say this to all y'all. Thank y'all for coming up, and thank you all for joining in the chat room. I just had to get this off of my chest, because like I said, I felt bad about what I said. Not because I meant it in a bad way, but because I felt like it didn't come out right. And I even apologized to the brother. I just felt really bad, and that was my fault for half-assing it, not listening to everything. So I just wanted to use this as a little bit of a learning experience.
Why did he jump down?
He
What's
might
that
have I don't know, he might have been busy, something like that. Sometimes he'll jump down and hop back up. But I did tell him
Yeah, that's what BMT does. He does stuff like that.
I told him, but it's okay, because I told him before I went live that this was not going to be a very long live. I just wanted to address the issue, and we did. And like I said, I
And
wanted.
can I just say something?
Sure.
Because there's a young lady in the chat room, and she said some very interesting stuff. So she was asking why men are laying up under teenage girls in their home, and she said that she feels as if teenage girls should be comfortable to wear what they want in their own home. And I want to talk about the comfortability thing. because if you talk to any gynecologist or any um, pediatrician even, they'll tell you that dressing your children in tight or revealing clothing is not comfortable. Children's clothing should actually be looser where they can be free to move around. So if your girl is walking around in coochie cutters, that ain't comfortable. Okay, that's her just walking around in coochie cutters, cutting up her coochie, cutting off the circulation to her vagina, letting her ass hang out in front of
Faith,
everybody.
Faith, you being explicit. You being explicit.
I'm sorry, but I mean, hey, I don't know no other way. I mean, if you think that's comfortable, have any of you ever had some coochie cutters? Is that comfortable, really?
You're not supposed to wear, coochie cutters, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's not appropriate for your daughter to be walking around the house and you got a guest over. That's all that the man was saying. Y'all talking
Right.
about comfortable. That ain't comfortable.
I'm gonna no, that's a good point. I'm gonna lead us out with this. I'm gonna let y'all stay on the panel with me because it's really just this simple. Just like how I started saying, and BMT made a good point with this. Some of us want I'm gonna be honest. I've never been the type to get up here and say that I necessarily need or want a man for leadership, but that's the role, right? That most of us feel like our men should be in. But this is the thing: when we get that, we can't dictate how it comes, what it sounds like, da 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 da. As long as the person is coming from a genuine place, a concerned place, a healthy place, we've got to learn to listen. Sometimes that's all. Learn to listen, and
I got
it goes in both directions. So
Yeah, I got a perfect example when you allow me to speak. I have a perfect example.
I'm gonna let you give the example, then I'm gonna end it. But go ahead, I want to hear it.
There was a cousin of mine, or is. She's still living, God bless her. Raising a son because her husband was incarcerated for a long period of time. And her concern was that her son needed, quote unquote, a live in male influence. Her dilemma was who would be the safest male influence for her consideration. What she determined is that it would be a man whose leadership is considered, but she actually is the authoritative figure in that household. Now, hear me out, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to do everything that it takes to respect you as a man, but at the end of the day, you don't get to dictate how my son operates, as he's growing in life. What you're here for is for him to observe how a man wakes up in the morning, takes a shower, goes to work, and conducts himself peacefully under our roof. That's what you're here for. You're not here to say, well, that boy should be doing this and that boy, all that, all those things that would include outspoken leadership role. So she played it masterfully, if you ask me. And he just happened to be in a position where he needed her more than she needed him. And so that's when things can get complicated. When a woman invites a man into her realm, he has to understand that he's there as a placement. He's not there as an authoritative figure. And that's what I want men to understand. If you're moving in with a woman, okay, you're not considered by any circumstances as an authoritative figure. So that's where the pushback comes in. Okay, that's why you get this attitude of, what you saying doesn't hold weight. However, if she is going to be under your umbrella of leadership, that's a different scenario. And I want people to understand the difference. There's a difference. Like, That's what I wanted to say. Thanks for listening.
No, I'm glad you brought up a good point. And it's all about the relationship type. There's appropriateness, and all that was discussed on Faith's show. Because all that does matter. All that makes a difference. What kind of relationship? How long y'all been together? I agree with you. I don't think I'm one of those that if you're not the biological parent, however, I have situations in my family where, like I talked about this, my uncle literally adopted my cousin since he was a baby. So he is my cousin's in a way.
That's
He's like
right.
my father. So it's different situations and that's the thing. Everybody's situation is not going to be the same. Now, I am going to end it because I don't want to. I feel like we're ending it on a good note, but I will say this. I told you, BMT, if you feel like there's anything, if you're listening, brother, if you feel like there's anything that you want to, because I feel like, listen, us who know him, we got his back, right? But I feel like he's feeling like he's having to battle a lot of people. So sometimes, like I tell y'all, when you feel that way, it's best to do it on your own platform. And, maybe the fellas can, join him and we can listen to the male side, But I think this was good. I enjoyed Face Live. I'm glad you guys came up to here and helped me clarify some things.
I would like to say something more before you go.
Sure. Oh,
Okay. People that may be familiar with how my association has traveled. Chaos.
mute up,
Okay.
Chaos, okay? Mute up for a second.
1 second.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. I'm holding a lot of things in my hand. Can you mute me?
Okay, go
All
ahead,
right.
sweetie.
Yeah. My associations throughout this so-called Black YouTube experience includes a narrative where BMT was exploited for, some certain things that had nothing to do with anything other than the fact that that person wanted to exploit them, right? So I know for a fact that what I determined morally is not to accuse someone of what they didn't have proof in the atmosphere as to what they've done. And I'm saying this to say, those who are familiar with me before my Gmail got altered and I had to be, Mela2 or whatever the fuck this email is. Back in the day, I was Charm, right, with an E. And there was a particular live stream where it was inferred that he was quote unquote FOS, otherwise known as full of shit. And so, me participating in a message against the what they call the criminal couple, what I decided to do was make sure that I would tease people into thinking I was about to pronounce this man something that he's not. I went into the comedic exposure, like, yeah, because I can just picture him walking in and saying to his babies, and then everybody was bated breath. They was like, oh, she getting ready to do it. She getting ready to, pronounce unjustly that he's, a predator of not only his own children, but just in general. And I turned that comedic effect into, you all should be ashamed of yourselves pronouncing people to be predators without proof. And
Right.
that's
Yeah.
my point. Like there should be no excusable incident. Well, there should be no incident to be considered where someone is quote unquote a predator without proof. And I think people get paranoid, right? They get paranoid because of maybe their past or whatever. I just want the message to get out there. Don't get so paranoid that you accuse people of being predators without proof. That's my message. And thank you for listening.
No, that's a good point. That's very important. That's because that's something that's very, 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 very hard to. I mean, it's serious. It's a very serious accusation.
There's a lot of paranoid people out here. You know.
Yeah, the paranoia is real.
I'm
Hey,
a,
Terry, the notary.
hey
Hey,
Terry.
Terry.
I'm gonna let Chaos, and then I'm gonna end it, you guys. But I do appreciate you all. Go ahead, Chaos. Tell me what you got.
So you still feeling a certain way, Mahogany, about earlier in the stream, about how
No,
people were.
I apologize. I actually reached out and apologized because I felt bad when I went back and listened. Sometimes you don't even realize what you sound like till you go back and listen. Because I was trying to figure out, did I felt like maybe just by people's responses, maybe I sounded a little strange. So I went back and I was like, you know what, that didn't sound too good, and I just wanted to make sure that I cleared myself up. That's all. But now I feel better. I want these guys to go over there and check that original scream out so they'll understand. And I think he understands me. So we're good. And I hope that if he has any further concerns that he carries it on with the men. You guys can
Yeah.
have that conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad you did this live stream because it's important for people not to exploit those who are paranoid for profit. And that happens a lot. Like, they take a topic and it strikes their chord of paranoia, and next thing you know, they're all in without realizing that themselves are paranoid. It's like, do you realize you're attaching yourself to an agenda that reflects that you're paranoid without being aware that you're paranoid? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want people to think for themselves. That's all I want. Just think for yourself.
Sugar,
Okay?
I want to address something. I promise I'm gonna leave it alone. First of all, welcome in Sugar Hayes. So I want to talk about this. It says I'm speaking from experience. I raised a daughter, and I didn't put her in a position to be uncomfortable in her own home where she should be able to relax. And that is true. You should be able to relax in your own home, right? I should be able. And let me tell you, I walk around booty butt naked most of the time. But guess what? When the pizza man comes to the door, I put on clothes. When the pesticide people come to check the house out, I put on clothes. And everybody under my care puts on clothes too. See, we got to be reasonable in our thought process, right?
Yes.
You understand what I'm
Yes.
saying? Think about what you're saying, Sugar. Hey, Juju. But I'm really dying to bring it to an end. But think about that, Sugar. Chaos. Did you want to say anything else? Because I felt like I cut you off.
Oh no, I think
He,
I'm
he
said
want to
my
know
thing.
who going live next.
Well, maybe BMT will do. Like I said, I'm hoping that he will from the male perspective. Ladies, and I'm not trying to harp on this, but this is the thing. Some of us are okay with being single. Some of us want a man. If you want a man, you've got to accept a man for what he gives, what he brings. If you want protection and the man is trying to give you protection, don't stand in your own way. Don't stand in your own way. If it's not something unreasonable, like, you know what, the pizza man is coming in, could you please put some clothes on before you answer the door, that type of thing, then we don't need to argue against it. We don't need to, that's not
Right.
necessary. All
Right.
right, so I'm gonna end it there. I appreciate y'all though.
All right. It was a
No, I
pleasure, as
appreciate you. It's
always.
my pleasure.
Yes, it was my pleasure. Thank you guys. All right, peace. Y'all enjoy y'all Memorial Day. You want to say
All
hey?
right.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.